Good morning.
Okay, we're a little late. Never late to learn.
I was a
Okay,
little. I
holding
apologize.
the fifth day. Today is Thursday. We're holding the fifth reading in the portion of Chayei Sarah. We're holding chapter 24, verse number 53. So the servant took out silver articles and gold articles. Begadim, he took out many clothes. Vayitel Rivka, he gave it to Rivka. When the Yonah said he gave delicacies, Nasal Achia Ve'imia, he gave it to his father, to his brother, and his mother. So what does that mean? What were these delicacies? An expression of sweet fruit. For he brought into him various kinds of fruits from the land of Israel. They sat down, they drank, and they ate. All the people that were with him. And he got up in the morning and he said, it says, time to go. So Rashi says, every lodging in the mention in the scripture is usually one night. Verse 55. So the brother and the mother said, let the girl stay with us a year, 10 months, and then she will go. Let her prepare herself for marriage. Rashi says, what do you mean, well, brother and a mother? Besuel, what happened to Besuel? Where was the father? So there's a famous medrash. Besuel wanted to stop the marriage, and he prepared a pottage with the poison in it, and came a malach and changed it over from Eliezer to him, and he died. Yamim, let the young lady stay a year. The time of the redemption shall be the full year. For the maiden is granted a period of 12 months to outfit herself with ornaments. Let her prepare herself. I also 10 months. When you say yamim means understood days, it's not customary for people to make a request to go from a year to days. So it must be from a year to 10 months. Okay, you don't want a year, we'll go down 2 months. Verse 56, he said to them, Al Tachares. He said, no, do not delay me. Hashem made successful my ways. Let us go back now. So they said, Nicola and said, call the young lady. Let's ask her. The Gemara here learns, here we learn, there's no forced marriage in the Torah. The woman, the man, everybody has consent to the marriage. They called Rivka, you want to go with this man? She said, I'll go. She said, I'll go on my own accord. Even if you do not desire it, I'm on my way. So they sent Rivka, their sister, they gave her nurse. They send them on their ways. They bless Rivka, our sister. May you become thousands of miracles. And may your seed inherit the cities of their enemies. So that says, may you and your seeds receive the blessing that Avram Avinu on Mount Moriah. And I will surely multiply your seed. May the blessing of Abraham be through you. May it be the will that those children shall be from you and not from another woman. Actually, Rivka didn't marry any other woman. She only was married to Rivka. The owner only married to Rivka. Rivka, so Rivka got up and her maidens, but the Kavna, like Gemalim, and they rode in the with the camels. They went after the man, after Eliezer. And the servant took Rivka Vayelach, and she went. Verse 62, and Yitzchak was on his way coming from Be'er Lachirei. And he dwelt in the land of the south. What was he doing in Be'er Lachirei? Where was he? Where he had gone to bring Hagar to Avram, his father. Yitzchak wanted that Avraham Avinu should get married again. He shouldn't be alone. So he went to bring back Hagar to his father. Yitzchak on Negan in the well, it says above, Avram traveled from there to the southlands and dwelt near Kadesh and Shur. And there was a well located, it said, behold, between Kadesh and Shur, there's this well. And then Yitzchak went out to forth, as you said, translates over here, Lasuach means to pray. He went out to pray in the fields, the Fnais Erev towards the evening. And he looked up, he suddenly saw a caravan was approaching. So Rashi Lasuach means to pray. So here we know that Yitzchak established the prayer of Mincha. Avraham Avinu established Shachris, Yitzchak, Leis Erev, sunset, and the sunset time. So Yitzchak established Mincha. And Rivka uplifted her eyes, Vatedes Yitzchak, and she saw Yitzchak, Vatipa Malagala, she let herself down from the camel. After what she saw his majestic appearance. And she was astounded by him. Vatipa, and she fell, but she explains it as she slipped off towards the earth. As the Targum says, she leaned towards the earth, but did not reach the ground. And now she explains that the word Vatipa over here, he brings down different verses to prove that doesn't mean she fell, but she basically slid down. She said to the servant, Mia Ish, who is this man? That it's walking towards us in the field. So his man, he said, This is the master. This is what we came to pick you up for. So she took her veil and she covered herself. This is one of the traditions of covering the kala by the chuppah, is from this verse that she covered herself, she veiled herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that I have done, what happened. So that says he revealed to him, to Isaac, the miracles that were brought to him. That the earth shrunk for him, and Rebecca came out and provided it, all because of his praise. By the year Yitzchak, Isaac brought her into the tent of Sarah, her mother. He took Rivka, she became his wife. And he loved her. And Yitzchak was comforted after the loss of his mother. Last day, he brought her into the tent, and behold, she was Sarah, his mother, meaning she became the likeness of Sarah, his mother. For as long as Sarah was alive, a candle burned from one Shabbos Eve to the next Shabbos. Sarah would light Shabbos candles, and the candles will burn from Friday to the next Friday. The blessing was found in the dough. The cloud was attached to the tent. It was always over the tent of Sarah. As we know, Sarah was a greater prophetess than Abraham. When she died, all these things ceased. And when Rebecca arrived, all these things came back. So that's what he consoled within her. In the ways of the world, that as long as a person's mother is alive, he's attached to her. But as soon as she dies, he finds comfort in his wife. Isn't there a joke? You marry your mother. Something like your mother. Okay, we continue. That ends the Chumash of the day. We go to the Alter Rebbe's Tanya, the chapter 29 of the Alter Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe is explaining the power, what's the meaning of a mitzvah. What is the meaning of doing a mitzvah? And then the mitzvah is a lavush, is a garment. And the Eibishter gave 613 garments. And in each garment, each mitzvah, you have machshava, dibur, and mais, you have thought, speech, and action in each and every mitzvah. And this mitzvah has a double thing. Number one, the mitzvah is a garment, and the example of a pole that is hollow in the middle, and this pole goes all the way into the ground, and it goes all the way up to heaven. It touches the roof of a house. So it's hollow in the middle because the mitzvah surrounds the Jew and connects him straight to the source of the mitzvah, which is the rotzin of the Eibishter. But then the mitzvah has even another greater purpose, and that it's a garment that protects the soul to be able to reach even higher than rotzin, the will of God, to reach the tainug of God, the delight. And that's the beauty. Only a mitzvah, which is a physical thing. As Alter Rebbe says, most mitzvahs are physical, whether it's a physical action of a mitzvah, or even dibur, speech is a physical thing, and even thought of a Jew is a physical concept. And this is the concept. Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain that in addition to the function of a mitzvah as a garment for the soul, they also serve to unite the sublime spiritual level of Keser with the physical object with which the commandments are performed. That's another concept of mitzvah. The mitzvah is the only way that spirituality can connect to physicality. Because nobody can connect physical to spiritual, only God. So nobody can come up with a mitzvah. That's what the Torah says. You're not allowed to add, you're not allowed to subtract. Because who can connect physical and spiritual is God. And God gave you 613 connections. And each connection has many different levels, as we learned. As such, they resemble pillars that connect the highest part of the house to the lowest. So it's not only about the soul, that it's a connection of the soul. It's also partial that the physical world has changed. Because we connect the physical and the spiritual. That's how the continue. Now the supernal will is termed, is referred to by the Kabbalistic teachers. Alter Rebbe calls the Kabbalistic teachers Chachmei Emes, the true knowledgeable people. B'Shem Keser Elyon. It's called the Supreme Crown. Uboy Tarach Amudir, and they have 620 pillars of light, right? First of all, 620 being the numerical equivalent to the Hebrew word of Keser. But 620, Alter Rebbe said before, 613 mitzvahs and 7 rabbinical mitzvahs. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm learning yesterday's. I'm sorry, we're learning yesterday's. We're going to start. I apologize. We started yesterday. This is Alter Rebbe continued yesterday's. I apologize. No, I was reading something that I remembered for yesterday.
Well, maybe we need to hear it again.
And this is the meaning of the Zohar in Pash B'Kudei, that Reish Chav Tes Amud Beis. The Inun Avdin Tavad the Av Banash Moshchim in the heart of the Ziva Ilad Levusha. The good deeds, meaning the mitzvahs, which man does elicits a garment from the light of the supernal splendor of the level of Keser. And they behold the pleasantness of God. Again, so the same concept I was mentioned. And also, as the Zohar concludes, they experience the pleasurable thirst. What is the pleasurable thirst? That's Pnimis HaKeser. The Pnimius, the essence of the inner aspect of Keser, which the Alter Rebbe explained yesterday. The outer aspect of Keser is Ratzain. The inner aspect of Keser is Tainug, delight, desire. Though that of the Zohar over there speaking about the lower Gan Eden, where the garments derive the truly practical commandments. So they result not from the supernal will as above, but the merit of physical action. But if you go to the upper Gan Eden, So we know in Kabbalah, there are two in Gan Eden on many levels. But in general, divided between the upper Gan Eden and the lower Gan Eden. Gan Eden Tachten, Gan Eden Elyon. And each and every Gan Eden has its purpose. So actually, we know that most Jews reach up to Gan Eden Tachten. They reach the lower level of Gan Eden. They don't reach the higher level of Gan Eden. Why? Because the revelation, the higher level of Gan Eden is too deep for them. Why? Because the upper Gan Eden, the garment, derived from the love and devotion, the heart, with respect to the Torah's prayer stated in the Zohar. So over there, the Gan Eden Elyon you can only go to if you did Torah Lishma. That's where you can reach up to Gan Eden Elyon. So the Zohar states that once the soul possesses, while the lower Gan Eden, the garments of the mitzvahs that derive from the physical action, it then rises to the upper Gan Eden. Because over there it receives not from the actual mitzvah, but from the Torah of the mitzvah. Right? Every mitzvah has three garments. It has the garment of the physical action. That's what you see in the lower Gan Eden. And then it has the second garment, and that's the garment of the Torah, the knowledge of the mitzvah. And then you have even a higher level, the machshava, the thought of the mitzvah. So in the lower Gan Eden, there you receive the first garments. And then you go, however, this devotion, from whence these garments derive, refers to the devotion of one's occupation with Torah for its own sake, out of love of God. With the commandment of Torah study belongs to the class of physical commandments, because it's the mitzvah to learn Torah. The movement of the lips when you learn Torah is also an action. And meditation is not like speech. We know in Jewish law, you don't do the obligation of learning Torah with thought. You do the obligation of learning Torah with speech. And so too in prayer. You don't accomplish prayer in thought, even though you should meditate before you pray, but you need to pray with your mouth. So both Torah study and prayer require action. Even the garments that are created by devoted Torah and prayers Torah are considered to be derived from the tangible and active aspect of the mitzvah. They too are the garments that derive from the light of Kesef. And certainly so, considering that the superiority of devotion, kavana, over speech and action, so much as devotion can create garments for the soul in the upper Gan Eden, right? Because we just said that physical learning is the lower garment. Even physical learning, just learning Torah, is the lower garment. It's really the kavana, the intention of the learner, that gives you a higher garment. It gives you a garment that can reach up to protect you and bring you to Gan Eden Elyon. So even though you would say these are higher garments, it's not due to its own merit, as in the loving service of God, but because of the radiance from the supernal will, where mitzvahs is performed with the radiance of supernal will, is more manifest and more spiritual aspect, and is devoted and in its devout and loving intent than the tangible physical aspect. So that's why the mitzvah, that's why the garment of machshava, or even dibur, in comparison to maisa, that's a greater garment. But not that it's greater than action. It's self-understood because it's more spiritual than action. So therefore, the revelation is greater than in the action. But they're all three garments to the soul. The soul needs to, so therefore a person can say, you know what? I'm going to only do devotion. I'm do meditation. I won't do the action. I won't have the garment of the action. And if I don't have the garment of the action, I'm missing the garment. So even though I have a garment of devotion, I'm still missing the garment of action. And I'm missing the purpose and the completion of this mitzvah. So therefore, all are equally important, but each one of them have a different purpose. And the first garment, and therefore to go to Gan Eden Elyon, you need to go through Gan Eden Atachten. To go to the higher level of Gan Eden, you have to first go through the lower level of Gan Eden. So first I have to go through the lower level of Gan Eden, which is the garments of action. And then ultimately, it brings me to the higher level of Gan Eden Elyon, which is the Gan Eden of the limit, the learning Torah, which I learned Lishma. And ultimately the Kavanah, the deep meditations and contemplations and spirituality, which is the garments of Machshava. As I explained at length in chapter 1 of Likutei Amarim, chapter 38, part 138, Barichus Ayin Shav. So the Alter Rebbe explains there that the illumination from the supernal will that shines within the devotion, what accompanies an action, is likened like a soul relative illumination shines itself in action itself, like a soul to physical. So the body and the soul need each other, which is likened to a body or a garment of the soul. Difference is thus only the degree of contraction, emanation of radiance. That's only the difference. That's self-understood. In the soul is revealed more than in the body, but both need each other. From above, it's clear that even the garments of the soul that are created from devotion and feeling that accompany the Torah of prayer also results only from the radiance of the supernal will, in which is the supernal Keser, ultimately comes all from Keser, whether it's the outer level of Keser, Ratzon of Keser, or the inner level of Keser, but ultimately a Jew doing a mitzvah here on all levels, on the physical level, on the emotional level, on the spiritual level, all connects him automatically, straight, without any blockages, without any inferences, without any contractions. Connects him straight to Keser, connects him straight to the will of God, and ultimately to the Tainug of the Eibishter, and to the delight of God. And therefore, ultimately, these garments will be with him, these garments, because you never can take away a mitzvah from anybody. So these garments, every mitzvah that you do, every mitzvah you do is going to be a garment for you forever. Because once you did the mitzvah, you will never get rid of this mitzvah. So this garment will be for you in this world. It'll be good for you in the world to come, in Gan Eden, after 120 years. And it will surely be good for you when Mashiach comes, because they'll all be as a garment to connect you to heaven, to connect you to God. And that connection is never broken. And that connection will ultimately give you the capability to have true delight in what the garment represents. And that is a Tainug of the Eibishter. The garment represents the delight of God that God has in the physical world. And why he created the world. The Sava Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's an expression. God had a delight in the world. Most of us might think, what kind of delight does God have in this world? You think that God would have a delight in the spiritual world? No, God does not have a delight in the spiritual world. God had the Sava Kadosh Baruch Hu leads the dir b'tarteinim. God has the delight in this physical world. Right now, we can't understand even why there will be a delight. Well, one day it will be revealed. Whether after 120 years you'll be in Gan Eden, you'll see the delight of what God had in this world. When Mashiach comes, and you'll see the delight of what God had in this world. And what ultimately the Eibishter's ultimate delight, and when a Jew does a mitzvah in this world, what his Tainug is, not it was lots. You might say, God had a will. No, Nesava Kodesh Baruch Hu. God had a delight. One day we'll all taste that delight. And we'll see that delight. And we'll comprehend that delight. Let us hope we merit that speedily in our days. Today is the 22nd day of the month. Thank you, Moshe, for the compliment. Today is the 22nd day of the month, which starts on chapter 106 and 107. 106 or 107. So do chapter 106, 107 in Tillim, and you would have done the chitas of the day. Mitzvah at 10 a.m., my friends. 10 a.m. today at Chabad. We're going to learn a sikh of the Rebbe on the portion of the week, either at Chabad or on over here, Facebook, TorahDirect.com. And I wish you all a wonderful, beautiful, phenomenal day. God bless you all.
Phenomenal.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi.
God bless you all.
Amen.